Akai Jackson. Let's kick things off. You are America's favorite mind trainer. What did that mean to you, sir?
Man, it was such a blessing and a journey to get here. It's such a humbling and just an incredible experience, right? And when I got the email, I was actually on my way to see a client, and I pull up the email as I'm parking, and man, it was just such an emotional day. I actually lost my grandmother about a year and some change ago, and she was the
Sorry
most
about that.
important person, still the most important person in my life. And I see it, and every time I do a speech, I'm spending a lot of time with Ricky. Ricky and I spend a lot of time together, whether it's prepping for a speech or whatever the case may be. But him and I have become very, very close over the last couple of years. And so, I have this thing where I do a speech and I call my father, and then I call my aunt, and then I call, one other person that's, really, really important to me. And this particular morning, it was just, I wanted to call my grandmother. And
Yeah.
all I could really say was, we did it. So for me, this is not a me award. This is a family award. This is a friend award. This is for every single person that has been in my life since day one, who has coached me, motivated me, mentored me, empowered me, taught me something, so that I could be who I am today, so that I can furthermore be a bridge gap for people to help them become the best versions of themselves. So this is not Akai is America's favorite trainer. This is everyone that's been in Akai's life for the last 35 years. We are America's favorite trainer.
That's beautiful, man. I love that. Tell me about the first time you can remember really intentionally thinking about mindfulness.
That's a great question. I learned a lot from just my upbringing. My grandmother, my aunt, my father, they put a lot into me. And honestly, it was a very, very young age where they used to just talk to me. They would just say things to me. And they were very, very impactful. Like I remember the first conversation I really remember having with my grandmother. And she just said, "Hey, Akai, people are not obstacles. They're opportunities for you to love on, like for you to encourage, for you to empower, for you to educate, for you to teach," right? So if you're not making other people feel better about themselves, you're wasting your time here on planet Earth. Like, Kevin, she said that to me when I was 5. And my aunt is the biggest cheerleader, right? Like, she's the loudest person in the room. She claps loud, she talks loud. Like, she's just constantly been the supporter and the cheerleader since day one. So, getting encouraging words from her, and then my father, just saying things to me like, you're gonna bless others, and you're gonna use your mouth to do it, right? And so, just empowering me with words, and basically saying things like, there's life in words, and you can use your words to create things and move things and build things. And again, I'm very young when these types of things are being said to me. So,
Yeah.
for me, I felt like it was just something that was kind of breathed into me, something that was inspired into me, and something that I was really just meant to step into. I just had to be obedient to do that. So.
Yeah. You're a personal trainer, but you take things to that mental level.
Yes.
What everyone talks about, there's all these saying, right? Mind over body, and all these things. What does it mean to you when you're coaching your clients and you talk about that kind of thing? Why do you feel like you got to bring that mindfulness aspect to it?
Being a coach, being a mentor, being a trainer, most often than not, right? Like, the mind is the thing that you have to teach people to overcome. Most people physically know they can do everything. Hey,
Mm.
pick this dumbbell up, and it's only 20 pounds, and I've never lifted 20 pounds before. Well, I don't care. I'm telling you, you can do it. So, they trick themselves into thinking that they can't do something before they even attempt to try it, right? So everything starts in your mind, right? Like, when you wake up in the morning, the first thoughts that you have through your mind, whether they're positive or negative, they're going to be right. And that's how you spend the rest of your day. So if I can take, someone and teach them how to become the best version of themselves, and I can pour into someone and really build their mind, we can get their body to follow that. You know what I mean? So for me, the mind is so important, and that's what you have to change. All the behaviors that you have comes from your thinking, all, whether they're good or bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. Everything that you do is predicated and starts with how you think about it. So you don't see with your eyes. Your mind determines what you see. So if you see this mountain and you go, I can't climb this. Well, you had to think that, right? And then it got reprogrammed because you heard it, and so you're 4 times less likely to be successful at climbing this mountain. But you'll get other people that look at that same mountain and go, it's going to be tough, but I can do it. And that, honestly, that's the difference, right? So if you can get people to go from I have to I get to, or if you can get people from, I don't know how right now, but someone is going to show me how to do this, or I'm going to figure it out, right? That's the difference between being successful and not being successful, right? The difference between a ditch digger and a surgeon is thought process. The difference between an amateur and a professional is thought process. The difference between somebody that just does it enough to get it right and someone who never gets it wrong is thought process. So if we can train your mind, we can get your body to do anything other than that.
I like the piece about how you start your day, because I think a lot of folks, they started by turn off their alarm and scrolling, right? Doing some kind of piece of that, and you're losing ownership over how your day starts. You're just subjecting yourself to it. How do you tell people what they should start out with?
So I'm actually, that's a great question. So when I have, mindfulness, right? Or, athletes or whatever, whoever I'm working with, my clientele, the first thing that I put in play for them are words of affirmation. That is the very first thing that we do. Say, hey, I know you're not in school. I know you're 27, 35, 42, 55. I don't care. You have homework tonight. And that homework is to write down words of affirmation, right? I need you to affirm yourself, because what you say when you talk to yourself is extremely important. And unfortunately, like scientifically proven, we have been programmed for failure. We have been programmed to not be successful, regardless of how positive your household is. Kevin, you learned how to not do things by being taught and told not to do them, right? Like, sure. Kevin, don't touch the stove, it's hot. So the key word there is don't, right? Don't run across the street. Okay, keyword there is don't. No, don't stick the spoon in the electrical socket, or whatever the case may be. All those are negative connotated words, even though they were put in place for you to be protected, right? You learned how to not do them by being told don't do it, as opposed to you can, you will, you must. Right? You can do this. You will conquer this. So that negative connotative piece from 0 to 18, you've heard like 18 million times, versus you can, you will, you must, like 18,000 times from 0 to 18. So what you say when you talk to yourself is extremely important. So the first thing we put in place is words of affirmation. The second thing we put in place is make your bed. First thing. So I don't know what you do before, but as of you being a client of mine, one of your responsibilities is say these words of affirmations at least 50 times a day, make your bed first thing in the morning, for a couple of reasons. And I like to joke around, but I say, hey, if you make the bed, you're probably not going to get back in it. So your feet are already on the ground, and it's time for you to get moving. Next thing, go to the bathroom, right? Like brush your teeth. While you're brushing your teeth, say your words of affirmation, and I need you to attack the day like that. That's how we put it into play, man.
It sounds like you're a routine kind of person.
Absolutely.
Like your routines.
Absolutely. Proper structure precedes predictable results. Absolutely.
All right, hold on. Wait. Say that twice.
Proper structure precedes predictable results.
There you go.
Yep. Proper structure precedes predictable results. So I think Bill Gates said it best. There are 2 types of businesses. There are businesses with structure, and there are businesses that are out of business. So for me, right, people's minds is business. People's bodies are business. People's spirits and their souls are business, right? So for me, right, it's just very, very easy for me to say, hey, listen, if we put this framework in play here, I can tell you where you'll be 30, 60, 90 days from now, because I've done it to hundreds of thousands of people before you, and I'll do it to hundreds of thousands of people after you. And even though a lot of pieces of the program are customizable, that the anchoring pieces, the pillars, and the framework is 100% duplicatable. So
you on Burlong, your longest video is less than 5 minutes. What is it about bite-sized content that works for you? Because it's clearly working for the people who support you.
People's attention span just really isn't that long, man. It really isn't. And for me, it's about connectivity, right? One of the biggest things that I try to bring into people, right, is I try to draw people into who I am, right? Like I'm very raw, like I'm very uncut. Like if you listen to some of my stuff, it comes across like, I don't know, kind of harsh or intense sometimes, right? But it's authentic, and it's who I am. Like I coach that way, I talk like that. My hands move all the time, right? My eyes do specific things, and all of that stuff is intentional for me, right? So for me to know that the average adult attention span is less than 4.5 minutes, right? Why put something out here that's 15 minutes long, knowing that you only heard 15 or 20% of that, right? So as a coach, what I learned in a very short period of time is, regardless of how long I speak, Kevin, I assume that you forgot 20% of everything we talked about as soon as we walk away from each other, right? So if I talk for 15 minutes, right, 20% of that 15 minutes is going to land you somewhere around 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. And that's honestly why I do it that way.
You, I'm really fascinated by this. You are one of the few trainers today that isn't afraid of the P word. And I'm talking about perfection. What is it about perfection that's motivating for you?
So, you know, I ran into this quote, right? And it says, excellence is my goal, perfection will be tolerated, or perfection is my goal, excellence will be tolerated, right? And it's something that, you know, my father really kind of put into me, right? My father he's a pastor. You know, he builds houses, and so, you know, he really instilled in me at a very young age. It was, I would rather you measure this thing 150 times and cut it once than have to cut it 150 times, right? Like, so he really just kind of put on me, hey, listen, if you do it right, you don't have to worry about it again, right? So if you have the ability to perfect your craft, why wouldn't you put the time and effort into doing that, right? So for me, when I wake up every day, you know, Kevin, my goal is to run my engine as hard as I possibly can all day, every day, so that at the end of the day, I am completely and utter exhausted. Therefore, as long as I did it with intent, and as long as I did that with purpose, I understand and know that my day, that day, was lived to perfection, because that's exactly what it was supposed to be.
What we're going to talk about the trainers that you've had in your life. You know, what have they meant to you? How do you feel sometimes that they impact the way that you train?
Oh, absolutely. So I got started in this industry young, right? Like I was I was 17 years old, and I just didn't want to pay for a gym membership. So that's actually how I got into training, right? Like,
We're not recommending that to your clients.
you know, I was a all county, you know, all state basketball player, right? uh Awarded an athletic scholarship to play basketball at the next level, the highest level, right? And I just really didn't want to have to pay for a gym membership, so I got a job working at a gym. And my mentality when I was young in this industry was, honestly, if you don't puke or pass out, you didn't work out hard enough. And so absolutely, the trainers that poured into me, Eric Flynn, Michael Chaffin, those two people mentored me in this industry. And then I got connected with some chiropractors. Matthew Herba was someone who spent a lot of time with me to teach me just a little bit more than what the normal trainer knows, right? So I got to learn about the spine, and how it connects to different organs, and the functionality that the spine has. And then, you know, with holistic practicing and things like that, like I took a completely different approach to fitness. So as I was being groomed at a very young age by these three specific people, my views on, hey, if you don't puke or pass out, you didn't work out hard enough, quickly changed, right? So that we had an opportunity to really heal the body, like from the inside out, right? And then, you know, I got a certification back in 2006 from an organization called PTA Global. And it was called BCE, which is behavioral change and exercise. So we were literally able to take people who were addicted to things like opioids and cigarettes and, you know, alcoholism, and, you know, things like just lack of motivation, no inspiration, no purpose, no drive, no motor, right? And be able to really kind of frame some things up in their lives, and legitimately change their behavior from 0 to 90 days. So we can literally get someone to go from good to great in 90 days. And then we can get someone from 90 to 180 days to be great to exceptional. And it's a very methodical and a very structured way of designing and putting that forward.
What that kind of leads me into, everyone has a different kind of philosophy about how they work with their clients. And I think one of the tough things for athletes like yourself, people who you're born a little bit different, which is you believe that you should be puking at the end of a workout. And I that's a minority. That's a minority piece there. And most of the people you're working with are a little different than that. Some might call them normal. What would you say? I mean, how do you adapt to that? What's your philosophy like when you're working with these people?
So, now, when people come to me now, they have a little bit of an understanding prior to coming to me about who I am and what I do. Thank God, I actually haven't had to market in like 15 years. I haven't had to. And that's not due to me. That's due to the people that have trusted me, who have followed a program and a structured way of doing life, right? Have grown up to be successful in whatever it is that they've done, whether they be a high school athlete, a college athlete, a professional athlete, a stay-at-home mom, a doctor, a lawyer, a CEO, or a golfer, anyone, right? And so from there, right, when people come to me, they understand that it's just a little bit deeper than just counting reps, telling you what to eat, right? And understanding that they came to me for a specific reason, right? They can tell, like, on day one, like the first 5 or 6 sentences that come out of my mouth, that this is going to be different, because I'm asking them questions like, how'd you sleep? What'd you eat? Tell me about yourself. And I'm not talking about your weight loss goals, and I'm not talking about, you wanting to look good for this cruise or whatever the case may be. I'm literally asking, like, who are you? What do you want? What does your life look like? And what types of things are keeping you away from being that person? How do you like to be coached? Right? That's not something that people normally ask, right? How do you like to actually train? Because what I find is most people, right, they train people the way they themselves work out,
Right.
but that doesn't work for everybody. Excuse me, right? So what I do, hey, what do you like? Do you like dumbbells or do you like TRX, right? Do you like the floor? Do you like to stand up? Do you like to move? Do you not like to move, right? What don't you like, right? Because if I tell you to do a bunch of stuff you don't like, our relationship is just not going to work, right? So I'm really in tune with finding out who these people are, what they like, what they don't like, what they do, what they don't do. And then we have the opportunity to put that in the framework and move that forward, like I said, over a 30, 60, 90-day window, and then moving into 120, 150, and then 180.
What So let's talk about, I mean, obviously the past year and a half, everything has been different in the fitness world with needing to go virtual, right? It being at least nearly impossible to meet people in person. How did you adapt to that?
So I actually started doing virtual training about 7 years ago. So it actually wasn't extremely foreign to me,
Mm.
as far as being able to, find a system that worked for me and worked for other clientele, right? So it really wasn't a hard transition for me and my clientele, and thankfully, we really didn't get shut down for very long. I was only out of my facility for like 9 days. So, for the 9 days, pretty much everybody went virtual, and a lot of clients actually liked virtual a little bit better than being in person.
Right.
So a lot of clients have continued to stay virtually for, just to make themselves feel comfortable, but, they obviously get a good experience with who we are and what we do and the packaging that we deliver. So some have stayed virtual and some have come back to come face to face. So the transition, it wasn't really hard as far as delivering, expertise and workouts and things like that. But what did change was how much more mental preparedness and mental health, I had to pay more attention to, because some of
Mm.
my clients were, locked down from, really not having any work for, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, right? So they go from, attaching their self-image to what it is that they do for work, to not having that, to needing to reinvent themselves or refigure out who they actually are in a very short period of time. So there's been a lot of growth in, a lot of my clientele because of that. And so it was disheartening, just due to the fact that we had to experience something like that, but such a tremendous blessing for people to get re-engaged with, like, who they actually are.
Yeah. The mental health aspect to it really can't be understated. And it's coming out all the time. I mean, this week, right? Simone Biles being the big news story about the fact that she, I mean, probably inarguably the greatest gymnast of all time, being in a place where she couldn't compete, had to withdraw from the Olympics. And Simone Biles, right, person who has been through what she's been through, is going through that. You know, it only just says the kind of people that you're working with, that we're working with day to day, who, you know, who knows what they're going through.
Absolutely.
So want to ask, you know, before we clean up, first of all, you still play ball?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Not the way I used to. I mean, jumper still does what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
Still does what it's supposed to do. Yeah, my you know, my high school athletes are usually the ones that I play with, and yeah, they don't beat me. So you know, but they don't understand, right? Like, I don't pick up a basketball every day like they do. It's like, man, I don't understand, you know, how you're still beat me. It's like, listen, man, I'm a little older than you, and I don't put my 10,000 hours.
Couple
in,
more
so.
reps.
Yeah,
more reps for you.
It's like walking and breathing, man. It's just second nature. Yeah. So the jumper still does what it's supposed to do.
Love that. Man, want to ask just lastly, why do you use Burn Along?
You know, so I was introduced to Burn Along through a good friend of mine, actually, you know, Ricky's cousin. And you know, he's like, you gotta talk to my cousin Ricky, you gotta talk to my cousin Ricky, you gotta talk to my cousin Ricky. And at the time, you know, Kevin, I was actually looking to relocate to Colorado. And so, you know, I was talking to him the other day. I was just talking about, hey man, like, do you remember like the parking lot that I was sitting in, like when I talked to Ricky for the first time? And he said, yeah, man. And I said, man, things are going great. I couldn't imagine it being, you know, where it is right now. And, you know, so Ricky and I had a conversation, and then, you know, I sent him a video, and he was like, man, we would love to have you on this platform and on this program. And I said, sure, man, you know, tell me a little bit more about it. So he walked me through it, introduced me to it. I said, man, that sounds great. That sounds awesome. And so it gave me a place to, you know, it gave me a place to house, you know, who I am, and what I am, and what I would like to leave to this world, right? And so for that, I will forever be grateful for what Burn Along has done for me and my family, right? You know, just giving me an opportunity to touch more lives, you know, giving me an opportunity to sit in front of people that I might not have been able to sit in front of had it not been for Burn Along. So, you know, I absolutely love the platform. I love, you know, the interactions with Ricky that I've been able to have, the friendships that I've been able to build with him. You know, anytime Ricky and I talk, he's like, hey man, you know, I just want to let you know, these people want you to speak, or, you know, man, I just got off the phone with the CEO and he's jacked up. I'm like, well, what's going on? Why is he so jacked up? He's, hey man, he listened to one of your videos. I'm like, the CEO listened to one of my, okay, I like that. Like, like, that's great. You know, so I feel like I know so many people, you know, because of Burn Along, right? Just having an opportunity to work alongside of people like yourself, and, you know, some of the other people, you know, that I've had an experience with that Burn Along, it's been just world class. It's been second to none. And I'm just thankful to be a part of the family.
Everyone, y'all can connect with Akai Jackson. Emails akai.jackson@gmail.com. That's AKAI. Instagram @akai.jackson22. And of course, you can find his incredible mindfulness classes on Burn Along. Kai, I appreciate you coming with us today.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Be well. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.